plural or possessive. This week, we've been learning about plural nouns. That's a person, place, or thing when we have two or more of that person, place, or thing. We've particularly been learning about irregular plurals because I know you already know the regular form of making a noun plural. When we make a noun plural regularly or normally, we add an s or es at the end of the noun. But sometimes we can get confused with possessive nouns. So in this lesson, you're going to learn the difference between plural and possessive nouns and how we use this fabulous suffix s at the end of those words to make meaning. Nouns change when we add the suffix s or apostrophe s. The apostrophe is used for possessive nouns and contractions. In this lesson, we're going to focus on its use for possessive nouns. In writing, the apostrophe makes a distinction, which we don't hear in speech. Possessive or plural. A plural noun names more than one person, place, or thing. Most plural nouns end in the letter s, unless they're irregular. You do not use an apostrophe when you write a plural noun. For plural noun, for example, Willow has 4 balloons. In this case, she has more than one balloon. In fact, she has 4 balloons, and we just add s to the end of the word, but we don't use an apostrophe because it's a plural noun. A possessive noun shows belonging. It shows ownership. Whose thing is that? Most possessive nouns end with an apostrophe and the letter s. Here's an example. Today's Willow's birthday. Whose birthday is it? Willow's birthday. There's only one Willow, but she has a birthday. So in that case, the apostrophe s is telling us that the person whose birthday it is Willow. In Spanish, we would say, es el cumpleaños de Willow. We don't need to use the de or the of. A lot of my students will translate, today is the birthday of Willow. No, we don't need to use the word of because we have the apostrophe s to show possession. Today is Willow's birthday. Now, here are some examples where we have a noun, but we're not sure if it should be plural or possessive. Let's work through each sentence together. The blank ball was stolen. Now, we have to ask ourselves, is it plural? Are there multiple boys? Or is it possessive? Does the ball belong to the boy? I think what makes the most sense is that the ball belongs to the boy. So we'll say the boy's ball was stolen. Now you notice in my voice, we can't hear any difference, but we're going to spell that boy's B-O-Y apostrophe S because in this case, it shows possession or ownership. Next example, the airplane was 3 blank late. Do we think it's plural, that it was multiple hours late, or possessive, that the hour was owning something? In this case, because we have the number 3 there, that adjective is really helping us understand and describe the noun. In this case, it was 3 hours late, and that's going to be a plural form of the word hour. It wasn't just 1 hour, it was 3 hours. Because we're counting multiples, we know that it's plural. So we'll spell that H-O-U-R-S with no apostrophe. I know you can't tell the difference when I say it, but it makes a difference when we write it. My blank was flat. Now, here we are asking if it's plural or possessive. There's only one tire. Does that tire belong to a bicycle, or are there multiple bicycles with one tire? Well, I don't know about you, but the last time I saw a bicycle, it had 2 tires. So I'm going to guess that this is not plural. In fact, it is possessive. The tire that belongs to the bicycle or is part of the bicycle is what was flat. Let's check our answers. Possessive, plural, possessive. Remember that when we use an apostrophe s, we are talking about possession. Now, the noun that owns something, right, Miss Amelia's cup or the teacher's classroom, these can be plural or singular nouns. Now we're getting into a subject that's a little bit tricky. To make a singular noun possessive, we add an apostrophe and an s. Instead of saying the book of the teacher, we say the teacher's book. In this first example, the book belongs to just one teacher. For example, this is my book, a teacher's book. To make a regular plural noun possessive, just add an apostrophe. Now imagine that these books don't belong just to me, but they belong to all the teachers at our school. In this case, instead of saying the books that belong to the teachers, we will say the teacher's books. Now notice, it sounds the same, but the apostrophe belongs in a different position. In the first example, the apostrophe came after the word teacher and before apostrophe S. In the second example, the word teachers already had an S at the end, so we just added the apostrophe to it. Let's look at a couple more examples of singular possessive nouns. Did you go to Evan's house last night? The elephant's trunk was 4 feet long. So in this case, the house belongs to Evan and the trunk belongs to the elephant. Evan and elephant are singular nouns. One's proper, one's a regular noun, doesn't matter. They're singular nouns, so we add apostrophe S. Now let's look at some more examples of plural possessive nouns. Look where the apostrophe S is here. Did you see the students' notebooks? The elephant's trunks were 4 feet long. In this case, the possession or the possessed object belongs to a group of students or a group of elephants. Because the noun that owns something is plural, we put the apostrophe after the S. In any case, the apostrophe is what reminds us that we are talking about possession, that we're talking about ownership or belonging. Now I want you to help me fill in the blanks. You need to figure out if this is plural or possessive. Chef Carter cut the tomatoes. Do the tomatoes own anything? My newspaper is wet. Kennedy drew, my blank newspaper is wet, right? So in this case, who does the newspaper belong to? It belongs to my neighbor. So in this case, we need to say my neighbor's newspaper is wet with an apostrophe S because of possession. Kennedy drew circles on the whiteboard, okay? He drew more than one circle. The circles don't own anything, so it's not possessive. The clown's noses were red. In this case, there were multiple clowns, but they had noses, and we need to show that possession in this sentence. So we would need to add an apostrophe after the S. I have 6 pens in my pencil case. Do the pens own anything? No, it's just more than one pen. So we just add S normally for this noun. I want you to remember that nouns change when we add the suffix S or apostrophe S. The apostrophe is used for possessive nouns and contractions. And in writing, we make a distinction that we don't hear in speech. So when you're writing and you want to add that S at the end of the word, remember that if you're using an apostrophe, you're designating possessions. We don't need to hear the sentences anymore, the apple of the teacher. No, we can use that handy dandy apostrophe S to make it clear that this is the teacher's apple. Thanks for watching on our video today about plural or possessive.